Voice Your Vote coverage now. It is primary day here in Wisconsin, and we are helping you break down your ballot.
We have team coverage on big races and issues for your vote today. Kristen Allen's live at a polling place near Lambeau. But we start with Emily Roberts live in Appleton at the First United Methodist Church polling site.
She's looking into the constitutional amendments that are on the ballot. And Emily, what can voters expect?
Tammy Emerson, poll workers are getting ready to open the doors for you to fill out your ballot in less than 2 hours from now. Once you're inside your polling place, you're going to see 2 yes or no questions about how much power the state legislature and governor have on how to spend federal funding. So take a look at your screen here. You can see that first ballot question now. It asks if a section of the Constitution should be created to, quote, provide that the legislature may not delegate its sole power to determine how monies shall be appropriated. Basically, voting yes means you want to add the section saying only the legislature can have the power to decide how that money is spent. Voting no means you're against adding that section, and the legislature can still let other agencies make decisions on distributing money. Moving to question 2 now, it asks if a section of the Constitution should be created to, quote, prohibit the governor from allocating any federal monies the governor accepts on behalf of the state without the approval of the legislature by joint resolution or as provided by legislative rule, end quote. So let's break that one down. Basically, the amendment would give the legislature a say in future spending decisions involving federal money. A yes vote means changing the Constitution to require the governor to earn that legislative approval before choosing where the money goes. A no vote means the governor can continue to accept and use federal funds without approval from lawmakers. Just one example of federal money, the billions of dollars given to Wisconsin related to COVID-19 relief. Republican authors of the amendments say the change would bring necessary reform to the governor's power to decide how federal money is distributed, but Democrats argue the amendments are a power grab by Republicans. So again, voters are weighing in on who has the power to decide how to distribute the federal funding. Keep it right here with Action 2 News for our Your Voice, Your Vote coverage for the very latest on the election once these polls open up. Live in Appleton, Emily Roberts, Action 2 News.